So let's get started on engine repair test 12. All right, so number one, what do the charge motion control valves do? They speed the intake charge and induce a tumble effect into the combustion chamber at low engine speeds and loads. Causes a thorough mix of the air-fuel charge, results in a quick, efficient burn, which helps reduce emissions, and they're closed at low engine speeds or light loads, help manage noise and vibration and harshness. Do you know what those are?
I can't write that fast.
Do all that, huh?
Yeah. Stand up. Bobby, can you reach that manifold? Stand on your chair if you have to.
I got the first word.
I'd say that Bobby makes the short list. All right. Yeah. All right, get it down, get it down. It ain't that heavy, it's plastic.
Yeah, but it's got
Get it unhooked from the doggone... Oh, no, the blinds have got all kinds of spider webs under them and everything. That's terrible.
Hopefully there's no spiders on here.
Now, I want to show you guys... Sure, there's no spiders up there.
There's webs, though.
He said, unsure if there's any spiders or not. Okay, you see these charge motion control valves? You see these things right in here?
Yes.
But basically, whenever that opens, when you open those, you see what it does? It makes it wide open. And when you close it off and it pinches off that chamber. And whenever you can see how if you close that off, it's going to speed that coolant up. I mean, that air up going in there. And this thing right here is operated by the engine controller. See that? Got it? You understand that, right? That's a brand new intake off of a Mustang. Why was it pulled off? Because somebody put a supercharger on it, and they gave me the Mustang. I mean, all right, put it back up there and watch out for the spiders.
What?
And the
You
sidewinders.
said there were no spiders.
I wasn't sure. Actually, there's webs on it, but anyway, that's what they do. They basically think about the charge motion control valves. If you speed that air up, it's going to tumble in there, and you're going to have a better mix of the air and fuel. That's basically what that is. And that's it. If I could talk about charge motion control valves, and you guys would go, huh, what's that? But if I show you that manifold.
Especially if you talk
wasn't
that
me.
fast.
Did you fall off of there?
Nope.
All right.
Is that the, what's that stuff that Honda's got on her?
Huh?
It's the VTEC.
Well, there's a zillion different ways of doing things like that. You know, and some of these engines will actually, I mean, they do funky things with the valves and everything else. I mean, what I'm saying is you could actually talk about that for an hour on all different kinds of engines. You know, as a matter of fact, like, for instance, on the long and the short runners, like short runners are better at high speed, long runners are better at low speed. Like on the show car that you were talking about. They actually change the length of the intake runners at 4,000 RPM. And it causes the power curve to level out and then go up. See, all right. So anyway,
That engine looks strange.
it was. It really was.
The intake manifold looks weird.
Yeah, it was a real sexy thing though. Everybody liked it when you opened the hood. They would ooh ah. What's the correct name for the part shown in the illustration above?
The solenoid screw.
Please, you're making it up as you go. That is the phaser bolt.
Phaser.
Now, what is a phaser? This thing.
Star Trek.
This is a phaser. See the phaser?
It's a guitar effect.
I'm waiting for somebody to invoke Star Trek on me. Phaser. You were thinking that, weren't you? Okay, I figured it out. All right. Which of the new engines is outlined in the handout, which I didn't give you, is out with ERFS?
The Ford Mustang.
The gasoline Super Duty engines. And VCT valve body and solenoid work together to route oil to what? The vanes in the camshaft phaser. You know how you got a solenoid in there? What happens if you drop the solenoid screw into the front cover?
You ruin it?
You got to take the front cover off to get it out of there. Don't use power tools to remove it. I was at a Chrysler school one time and they were talking about this engine stuff, you know, and they were showing this video about these people taking this cam sprocket and they were screwing this bolt in there by hand and they were being really careful to make sure they tightened it up just so with their wrench and all that. And all of us mechanics were sitting in there and we were all thinking the same thing. And I went, everybody went. You know, well, the video was saying, don't ever put, you know, always put it on with your fingers and use the little, yeah, whatever, you know. I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't have done it that way, but everybody was thinking what I was thinking. Yeah, right. Whenever they're not looking up, we'll zip it up with the impact. Get anyway with it sometimes. VCT does not control valve timing until the oil temperature reaches what? 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And here is a two-part question, and this is the same thing I just mentioned earlier. Don't use a blank when loosening the phaser bolt, and why?
Impact?
Well, don't use an impact wrench because impact tools can damage internal phaser components. You can see these delicate veins and stuff in there. If an impact wrench is beating the stuffings out of it, you know, he's going to bend some veins and all that. Why is it so important to align the phaser pin with the camshaft end notch during assembly? That's one of those things that you say when everybody's saying, huh, when you're done. If they're not aligned, the phaser and the camshaft will be damaged. You'll ruin them. Oh, this is a fun story. There was Bobby, you may have even read this on my Technical Writer Facebook page, but there was this car that was a Ford Probe, and the guy brought it over here, and he said I think the air conditioner wasn't working, and the balancer, you know, which has got rubber in between the pulley and the end part, the balancer had come apart, and it was the pulley that was on the outside of the balancer, that part of it, that actually were pulling the AC compressor. So we replaced that, right? And so, I mean, we replaced the balancer and put it back together and put the belt on it and cranked it up. And he goes to drive out of here. He left right out there. He got down at the end of the little road here between the two buildings, and he just did. What's up with this? So we pushed it back up here, and the little pin that was supposed to keep the cam sprocket, you know, timed with the camshaft on that one, because they didn't have cam facer. When somebody put it back together, and we didn't take it apart, but somebody else had put a timing belt on it, and they had pushed that pin in so that it was no longer keeping that from getting out of, you know, phase. But they just tightened the bolt real good. And it ran for a long time until we got down here working with obviously we worked with our impact wrench and stuff, and we moved it a little bit. And so we had to put all that back in place. And it was just irritating because, you know, you're saying, well, maybe using the impact wrench to take the balance, take the crankshaft bolt out, you know, dithered the chain and made it move a little bit. But just weird. But it's one of those things that blows up in your face and it wasn't even your fault, you know. And we fixed it, it didn't cost anything, but it was some extra work. Fortunately, it didn't bend any valves. The EGR valve on 6.8 liter V10 engines is a new design. True or false?
True.
False. It's the same thing. In comparing the 6.8 to the 6 liter, which engine has more torque?
6.8 liter.
What do you think?
Well, it's bigger.
Well, the 6 liter diesel V8 engine is improved, has 325 horsepower and 570 foot-pounds of torque. Or pound-feet of torque, if you don't say it that way. The 6.8 has Ford's powerful gasoline engine truck and has 355 horsepower, 455 foot-pounds of torque.
Really?
It's a gas burner and has less torque than a diesel. Diesel always got more torque.
Diesel does.
Why does diesel have more torque?
Because it's compression.
It's burning all the way down. Well, a gas burning engine at 25 degrees after top dead center, your fire's all gone out. So you're basically just slapping the piston. On the diesel, you're pumping it. Because all the way down you're pumping on that diesel. And it's got a lot more torque than a gas burner. And, but you better have pedal to the metal when you head up over. Okay, we got through in 25 minutes.